I'm Chantal from Fresh Israel, and today we're going to be baking some brownies. They're gluten-free and vegan, and the best part is that you can actually use some of your gluten-free sourdough starter to make the brownies. There will be an option without the sourdough starter, and that is the option we're going to be baking today. So let's start, and I will go over all the steps with you. To begin, we need to make some homemade hemp milk. Would this recipe work without hemp milk? I'm sure it would. So if you have another beautiful plant milk at home, like almond milk or oat milk or just something else that you have, you could try it. To make hemp milk, it's actually very simple. You can use a small blender, or any high-speed blender will do just great. You need to combine 1/3 of a cup of hemp hearts. I actually use organic hemp hearts. Many of them are gluten-free, so if you follow a strict gluten-free diet, you have to make sure that the hemp hearts that you use are certified gluten-free. And then we're gonna add 1 cup of warm or room temperature water. The reason I have it warm or a little bit like room temperature today is because we are going to combine it with the flaxseed meal and to create a little gel. So the fact that it's a little bit warm will help with that process. And then we are going to top on. I'm just gonna make a little bit of noise, but bear with me for a sec. You will see that hemp milk is a beautiful white creamy milk, and the reason I use it in a lot of my bread recipes and my baked goods is because hemp seeds, they're not, obviously I have allergen-friendly recipes and it's not a nut, so that being said, it's a little bit safer for people that have common food sensitivities and allergies. What you want to do next is just use a nut mesh bag. You can use a fine sieve as well. And you just want to strain the milk. So I've just made 1 cup of milk. You're not going to use it all. Actually, 3/4 of a cup today. Because we're not using the sourdough starter, we need to compensate for the 1/2 cup of starter that we're not using. So I've increased the milk in this version of the recipe for that reason. So we're using golden flax seed meal. If you have whole flax seeds, you can grind them. That would be fine too. So this is 1/4 of a cup. I will make sure to include the link to both versions of the brownie recipe in the description below. We're gonna measure the 3/4 of a cup of milk. And like I said, you can keep the rest for something else. There's not much left, but you could just drink it. It's really, really good. Then we are going to add the 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal. Combining both will create kind of like a gel, and that's what's going to help bind the ingredients in the recipe a little bit better. When you're baking without eggs, you need other things or other ingredients to help to create the binder. This is the sorghum flour. We're going to be adding some oat flour, arrowroot starch. If you didn't have any arrowroot starch, you could probably sub it with tapioca flour, or maybe even potato starch. This is the raw cacao powder. Smells really good. We're going to go ahead and in a saucepan, or you could use the microwave if that's all you have. I'm going to set it to low, the lowest setting on my gas stovetop. And we're basically just combining the dark chocolate, and in this case it's 1/2 a chocolate bar, so 45 grams if you want to be super precise. You can chop it up, but it's not necessary really because it will melt in the pot. I'm going to add 1/2 a cup of maple syrup, and this is from my dad's Sugar Shack, so I know exactly where it was made, and it was made this season too, so I'm really excited to use it. 1/4 cup of butter. You don't need to leave it for very long. As soon as the butter starts to melt with the and the maple syrup gets warm, you can turn off the heat and add the chocolate. You don't want to like cook anything, you just want to melt the ingredients. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the 4 squares of dark chocolate. If you were to use a microwave, honestly, like 1 or 2 minutes, you include the maple syrup and the butter, and then when you take it out, then put your dark chocolate into the mixture and mix until everything melts. That's all you want to do. Like I said, it's just enough heat to melt the dark chocolate. You can add the pure vanilla extract to this mixture. And so we're just going to add this mixture to our dry ingredients. We're going to go ahead and add the beautiful chocolate mixture. So like I said, this recipe has 3 types of chocolate. You got the beautiful raw cacao, and then you've got the gorgeous dark chocolate. And after we mix this up, we're going to add some mini semi-sweet chippets that are allergen-friendly, vegan, and gluten-free. That looks yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, I'm gonna use something else to mix it because my chopstick is not enough anymore. Alright. And make sure to go under your mixture because you would be surprised that there's always some dry ingredients hiding somewhere. Especially when you do a lot of recipes by hand. You don't want to overmix it, but at the same time you want to make sure everything is well incorporated. This is 1/3 of a cup of mini semi-sweet chippets. We're gonna fold it in. I've already been preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Including parchment paper will just prevent from your recipe to stick when it's baked. I'm sure you could bake this as mini 2-bite brownies in a mini muffin tin or even a regular size muffin pan if you have it. But baking it this way is kind of nice and easy. Today I did not add gluten-free sourdough starter, but in one of the recipes, like I said, the link's going to be below, you'll find a version that includes the sourdough. All it is basically you're including 1/2 cup of active sourdough starter. When I say active sourdough starter, I mean you feed your starter, let it get lively, and then you use it when it's all nice and bubbly. You might just want to use your spoon or spatula to just make sure that your mixture is spread around so it's even. So I'm gonna put this in the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes. You don't want to overbake the brownies because they could get dry, and the whole idea with a brownie is that you kind of leave them like a little fudgy and not underbaked but softer. So you don't want them cakey and dry, you want them gooey and soft and kind of like fudgy. So let's place this in the oven and bake for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to show you what they look like in a bit. Alright, in just a moment the brownies will be ready, but before I take them out of the oven, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that's tried making a gluten-free sourdough starter in the past few weeks. I love seeing your posts and your pictures, so don't stop, continue sharing them on either Instagram or Facebook. It makes me super happy to see all your posts. The last few weeks I've shared lots of new recipes. I haven't created a video for all of them, so if you go to freshasreal.com, you will get to see a recipe for a cherry apple galette. You're gonna see a healthy morning glory muffins recipe. I also shared a hot cross sourdough buns recipe. Oh, that means the brownies are ready. And I also put up a flour guide for gluten-free and vegan baking. Anyhow, so I will include all those links in the description of this video so you can go check it out. And now we are going to go ahead and take out the brownies from the oven. And here they are. How can you tell when the brownies are ready? Well, the mixture will feel set. It's not gonna feel hard. You're not waiting for it to get like super crispy or anything. You just want it to feel set. If you happen to touch the middle and it sinks and it still feels wet, it's not ready. But 25 minutes at 350 degrees on the middle rack should be just right. So we need to let this cool for a bit, and then we're gonna take it out and slice them and show you what they look like inside. So this is still a little bit hot, but it smells so good. And I really can't wait any longer. So for the brownies, you can, cut them into 9. I think that would be a fair portion. So as you can see, it sticks on the knife because they're still fudgy, and at this point they're still a little bit warm, but that is okay. This is what they look like. Yum, yum. I think it's gonna be very similar to the version with the sourdough starter. So today in this recipe, all I did was I increased the hemp milk by a little bit more, and I increased the oat flour. And I know some of you are going to ask me if they can replace the oat or replace the sorghum with something else. And you know what, that will be up to you to try. But some alternatives would be light buckwheat flour or millet flour. But I find for something like this, oat flour and sorghum flour creates a really nice texture. It looks so good. I will do a little bit of a close-up so you can see. Now I'm gonna have a little bite, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. They're good when they're warm. They're really fudgy and gooey, but not too sweet, so they make a really nice treat and dessert.